Hello everybody! Doing a spot of beach fishing today, and just turned up. It's windy as hell, it's blowing from the south, the sea's quite lumpy, and we've just walked across the dunes, just rigged up. The wind's coming along the beach, another bloke fishing up there, so the wind's coming this way, so we're just rigging up like this so the rod shouldn't pull over. If I was to rig them up like sideways, the rods could blow over, so we're just using the beach buddy, and just sort of gonna give it a go. All right. Right, so it's early on in the tide. We've got a 2-0 hook here with just some lugworm on it. We're not really casting too far. And I just got some white ragworm on a size 4 just below it. 7-ounce lead lifter, 60-pound shock leader, 20-pound snood line. So let's give it a go. There's usually a lot of weed here, so we're just going to fish one rod for a start. Probably only need a 30-yard chuck with so much tide here, just 30 yards. Or probably 60 yards. We'll see how we get on. I'm expecting it to break out of the bottom, but we'll just adjust it to see what we can fish with it. Big tide today as well. It's not wise to fish these sort of venues when you're on a big tide, but it's the best chance of something showing up with the way things have been going on. We've just left that in a big bow. Big bow. I've also got some shore crabs as well. We're going to let them thaw out, and I've got some cuttlefish to tip the lugworm and the rag with that as well. So just going to fish one for a start. Slowly rig the other one up. Bloody great seal out there. There he is. Pain in the ass. So I'm going to get tangled up in my line. That's never happened to me before, but whether they can see the line and that spooks them off, because he's not gone past, he stuck his head up and he went back the other way. Right, so just had a whiting. So much weed about. We can do well. You need everything's got to come right, the conditions, everything. Usually. Usually when you score good, certain things align, the stars align when things come right. I'm sure you fellow anglers, some of you really good anglers know what I'm talking about. You think, oh, he's just talking a load of shit again. So we've got half a crab. All right, we've got lugworm with a bit of squid. Sorry, a bit of coal. Just a little bit of lugworm. Sorry about winding the mic. So we've been quite lucky, really. There's not been a lot of weed around. And we've got 2 rods out now. Got 3 hooks, not too far out. Over there, another seal I can see. And we've got this heavier rod really whacking it out, and that's been coming back with minimal weed. Usually that is absolutely caked in it, but because we've got a lot of you know, quite a big sea, a lot of the weed has been washed up. Look, you see when it's flat calm you get more weed, when it's rougher you get less weed. So we've got 5 hooks out. We've already had a whiting. I'm sorry I forgot to show you, but it wasn't nothing spectacular. It was only a little tiny ting. So, but here we are. Let's see what happens. We've got peeler crab on, we've got some squid, and we've got lugworm, we've got ragworm as well. So let's see what happens. Job to know when to sort of give it a wind in, really. I mean, that's been out there 10 minutes to the left rod, and I'll be honest, that's probably as long as you really need to leave it, to be quite honest. So I've chucked that one out, baited this one up, casted it out. I've eaten my avocado. A dog's come round here and tried to nick my bait, but luckily I had it covered up in time. So I wish people would just put their bloody dogs on the lead when they're coming past fishermen. They'll soon whinge when there's a load of bloody hooks in its mouth. So we'll give it, I think we'll give it a wind in. That's what we'll do. We go from a 24-pound pike to that. It's good, isn't it? Put him back. Just put out a cod bait, tipped it with a bit of crab, and it was frozen, and the hook just went in perfectly, and there was a bit of shell there, and I thought, well, that's going to survive a cast easy. It didn't. That flew off. So it just proves that, you know, you try and cut corners to save a bit of time, and don't put the cotton on, and then, you know, and that wasn't even whacking it. You know, just little things can catch you off guard. Let's wind this other one with 3 hooks in and see if we got anything. Using flatty hooks as well, so if we can't run into a codlin, we might run into a flatfish, you see. This one isn't cast very far out, so I've had 2 whitings so far. I can't feel anything on them, so I'm going to have to try and cast out a bit further. Can't feel anything. Can't feel anything. Oh, yes we have. Oh, yes we have. What is that? That's a whiting. Well, for a minute that was almost a coolie. Almost feels like a coolie. I don't know, what do you reckon? Is that a whiting or a coolie? It's probably a whiting, but it's got a bigger eye. I think that's a coolie, mate. I think that's a coalfish. What we got? It's probably a whiting, but he's just got a different head to the. I might be wrong. He's green, look. He's green across the back, and he's more sort of. I reckon that's a coolie. What do you think? Look at it, look. I reckon that's a little coolie. Slightly different. He's not going to live because he's got hooked, I'm afraid. That was just in close. We've got the seal looking at me now. Hang on, so the one which we got the furthest out, we got, I think that's a whiting. We've got a rockling. Let me just clean them up. Got here. Whiting. I ain't caught one of these for years. So you've got a nice whiting there. Nice whiting. And we've just dropped off the hook. I haven't caught one of these for fucking years. A rockling. Where is he? A bit like a ling. I don't see that very well. Get him, look. Not dangerous. Like a slug. They could nickname them a slug or something. They're a bit like a ling. Funny old creatures. Really are. But you get them on this coast. And obviously we've got a nice whiting as well. So there you go. He's just lip hooked. Just put them both back. That's not a bad whiting actually. Ting. A nice ting, should I say. So, whiting, rockling, a coalfish, and 2 other whitings so far. So, just bait up again, and just debating whether to wind the multiplier one in yet. It's not casting out so far. It's where the sport rod is a lot further out. That way they never tangle. That's what's good about the stiffer rod versus the match rod. One set of gear will always be further out than the other, so you'll very rarely all tangle. So, and that's nice because we've got a bait in close-ish, 50 yards, and the other bait is, I don't know, varies. We've got the wind sort of half against us as well. Not really sure how far out we're actually casting. Probably getting 100 yards, I would say. Who knows? This beach, it don't really matter. Not too much about distance. That's more to do with if you can fish it or not. Usually you can't fish here because there's so much weed, there's so much tide. But I'm absolutely in shock that we've not got that much weed, and that's one of the biggest. It's still a big tide today. It must be to do with the fact with the wind's churning it up a bit. But got to leave it out there long enough. I've got 5 hooks out there, so we're going to fish till about dark, and then we'll see. Yeah, so it's a bit windy. It's not very good for the mic, but just debating on what. I've got 4 hours until low. The best bit of the tide is these next sort of few hours up until low water, so I'll probably be getting a little bit carried away actually, so I'm just going to put the brakes on it, not wind them in so quickly and stuff. I've got plenty of bait, but I just like to, if I'm going to go crazy with bait, I want to go crazy over what I consider the peak time. So it's easy if you don't keep an eye, if you ain't got a watch on your wrist, that's easy just to forget what's actually going on. But I just looked at my clock and it said 12 o'clock and I thought it was later than that. It's not. So it's easy to go crazy and get carried away. Come on, you. Get carried with bait. But we've got some peeler there, look, peeler. That coolie I've caught. I'm putting that on as well. Yeah, I've got some peeler there, look. Some crab to go on. I've got some lug. I've got some cuttlefish as well. So it's just... I've got another 50 there as well. Another 50 worms there. They're not so good worms, but they're still 50. So, there you are. There you are. Yeah, so we're inside my, I don't know, 15-year-old beach buddy, the Holden Beach Buddy. It's in better days, but it's still made in Britain, and it's still going strong. It's got a nice little, you can see that, a little clip there to hang something on. It's got little doors, you can shut these doors. if it starts really pissing down with rain, if you've got the angle of it wrong or something, you just put sand around the back. I would show you, but the bloody the wind is so strong that the mic is just not gonna, you know. So yeah, it's a really good. I think I brought it quite a few years ago. It's not actually had that much use. It's probably only been used about 10 or 15 times in all those years. I went overseas, you see, and it was just up in the loft with the mice, but they didn't eat it. I'm surprised they didn't chew it. But so we've got peeler crab on, we've got a fish bait on, just trying to conserve my bait a little bit, and then I've got lugworm on a small hook, try to get a flatfish or something. And on this one here we've got sort of a straight lug, more sort of aimed at the cod, but we're just a little bit early. It's the bottom of the tide when you're going to get them. So you've got to be a little bit, don't get too carried away. You want to try and sort of you know, it's a bit like doing a run or something. You want to finish strong. You want to sort of you want to save your best until the last sort of hour or two. You want to iron out all your sort of technical issues, your rods and your reels, rigs, everything. You want it nicely honed, so when you think that's the best window, the best sort of hour, you want to be, you know, like a Swiss watch. So far we've had 2 whiting, a coalfish, a rockling, and another whiting. That's what we've had on the crap part of the tide. So I'm not too concerned. Not too concerned. And we're hoping to get some flatfish, some dabs, and a codlin if we can. But there's a good spot here because this is probably, there's a lot of tide here. This would be a good place for a bass in May, April, May, early part of June. This would be a good spot for a big bass. But you need big peeler crabs. Something we'll probably give a go next year. Double shot of tings. We got it. Oh. I mean, these are actually not a bad size. Some of them have been terrible. But there you go. Double shot of tings. Got a little size 4 hook, look, and 2.0. Put these back, they're just sort of lip hooked, just on the outside of his mouth. So I'm just gonna, got plenty of energy, these ones. Some of the real small ones, they sort of just bloody die on you. These ones, well, they just got on there. Reasonable size ones, quickly put them back. Look at them, look. Give it a go. Day of the tings. Turn the bloody thing. Another one. Another ting. So we've got crab, bit of fish on there, bit of lug. We've got cuttlefish and lugworm. So, a lot of weed just now, but let's get this one out. Wind's getting up, as you would expect. I spoke about rain a bit later on. Whether that will get me or not, I don't know. It won't make too much difference under here, but if I'm walking to my car, it might. And that wind's getting up. Some real strong winds across the UK. Not been too bad today, but you just start to feel it now. What's the old sky look like over there? Some of them clouds. Anyone on the beach? Only one on the beach. A bloody seagull, look. So it's been out there a bit. Multiply one because of the weed and the tide. We just have to drop it short, but there's no reason why you can't get one there. But it's been a while. It's about an hour and a half before low, so just gonna still probably got about 40 lugworms left. Got a bit of cuttlefish, got a little bit of peeler. I think I've got a bit of peeler in there. Where's that? No, it's just some cuttle. Got a coalfish head. So, still got some worms, but I don't want to go too crazy. Because you might get something over the low, so you know we might have to sort of conserve a bit of bait, or just go down to one rod. Probably is what we're going to do. Rag, lugworm and cuttlefish, and sort of similar up the top. Cuttlefish, lugworm. See if we can lure a codlin out of somewhere. Yep. fucking left. So we've got a cuttlefish head. Got lovely juice in there, look. Right, and it's got a nice small size 4, little bit of lug and rag on it, look, small hook. Slightly bigger bait. Let's see what happens. So we're getting a bit low on baits, but we've still got that cuttle head and guts still on that other hook, so we'll leave that down there. Nothing's grabbed it, which is unbelievable. There's just nothing here at the minute. I'm not here. So we just have to sort of keep plugging away at it, and we'll just have to keep checking the forums, but it doesn't look like we're going to run into them. So just make sure, you never know, you might pick up a flatty or something. Smallish hook. So bloody sand out them grooves. There's no water now anyway. So we've got that. Got one on there, and that's it. That's just the 2, I think. What I might do, because the hook is clear, I might just make on a little bit. On a little bit there. Football tonight. Something forward to, have tea, football. You don't get it better than that. That's for sure. Anyway, so we've got that. This one here, can't see the bloody bait. We got. It's very difficult when you start to get dark. See what's going on. I forgot my bloody head torch and what's doing there. Make sure there's enough on there, because you know we get to a stage of the trip where you know we're not going to be doing it much longer. We're in slack water now. So we're going to pelt it out because there's less tide. Hopefully we won't get a dog harassing us. So let's just put that back in there. Let's whack this out. Alabadudge. Right. How was that? No, it's not. Probably got enough bait just for one more cast, so we're going to be calling it a night, I think, in a little while. As you can see, it's fucking pitch black out there, obviously. Yeah, big tide today, lot of weed. I knew it'd be difficult. We had about 100 lugworm, cuttlefish, we had some peeler crab, and we've probably had about 15, 20 whiting. We've had a rockling and we've had a coalfish. But target species, codlin, we ain't had one, mate. Doesn't seem to be enough of them around. One or two out in the boats around here, but you know, the odd angler picking off the odd one, but nothing like it used to be here, you know, 20 years ago or whatever. Just must have been a bad breeding year. Like if the sea's really warm, or it's been quite warm for a few years, then a lot of the cod larvae, they get picked off, they get eaten by a lot of the other sort of fish, so there's not that many of them around. That's the only thing I can sort of suggest. Either that or the trawlers are scooping up a lot. So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. The bass don't seem to be having a problem. They seem to be in good numbers. But for me, that's been very mild winter so far. So unless we get a sort of a run sort of around Christmas or even in January, that needs to really get cold. But I mean, if there's not that many numbers around, you know, they seem to be getting a few in the Bristol Channel that way, Irish Sea sort of way, and they're getting them up at sort of Whitby and Newcastle, that area there, but they're a different stock of fish altogether. So, you know, it's like, we just, you know, it's always nice to be out here doing it. You know, would have been nice to get a flatfish today. I mean, we're using size 4s, 2s, and 2.0 for a codlin, you know, and we hadn't had a flatfish, so I always get a little bit disappointed if I don't get a flatfish, because I like my flatfish. So yeah, so we're at the bottom of the tide, it's on slack water. You know, you do get skate here as well. Nothing's shown. They will pick up a bit of squid. We've got some cuttlefish strips. See what they do with their wings? They come over and they'll just they can't smell it, which they probably can smell it. They can just feel it with their wings, and they just come over it and they'll have it. Even just a little bit of squid, you know, they'll just pick it off. So you can use fish baits for them, squid, things like that. But if you want codlin, you lugworm. And you ain't got to use anything else. Straight lugworm, one hook. But there's a lot of whiting around at the minute. There's I've never seen anything like it. That's an absolute pandemic of whiting. That really is. And they're just in on the bait straight away, you see. So if there was plenty of cod around, you know, a lot of cod, they will go after a whiting. You know, often you can have one kicking away, and you'll get your whiting in, and his whiting's got all sort of teeth marks on it, where codlin has sort of grabbed hold of it. So you can actually, when there's plenty of cod around, you can live bait with that sort of stuff, you know, and it's okay to leave your rods out with tapping away with whiting on. So yeah, it's all right. So we'll have one more bait up, and we'll see if we can get in. Right guys, that's it for another fishing episode. This is basically just like a deep water beach, very tidal area. Trying to get a few different bits and pieces. Didn't get the target species, but you know, we got a coalfish, we got some whiting, and what else did we get? We got a rockling. Yep, how could I forget the old slug? So yeah, so you know, obviously the codlin aren't around this part of the coast just yet, but a little bit disappointing, but you know, they'll possibly be around. Failing that, probably have to do an uptide trip on a boat or something like that. But okay guys, well thanks for watching, and I hope you're enjoying the videos, and be more along the way. I've been doing some nice pike fishing, not far from where I live. Managed to get a few doubles. We managed to get a real monster of 24 pounds about 2 weeks ago, and yeah, so I hadn't caught one like that in years, because I've been overseas for like 10 years. So yeah, absolutely delighted to get one that sort of size again. So yeah, you should watch that. It's called Monster Pike or something. So yeah, we're going to do a rough ground trip. We're going to do a tutorial on sort of how you fish sort of rough ground. You know, just bugger all on the sand. So we're gonna try and see if there's any fish sort of lurking around where all the rough ground is, where I sort of sometimes go for bass. So what you need is like a rotten bottom rig. So I want to sort of talk through how you sort of do a rotten bottom, and you know how you get your gear back, and you know, weak links and all this sort of stuff. So we're going to do one of those. All right then, guys. Please subscribe to the channel. See you soon. Take care.